Welcome back to Elevation 44. It's your girl B. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. So today we are diving into the last full moon of the astrological year. We're getting ready to kick off our new year with the spring equinox. So we're going to dive into all things Virgo full moon, what it means, how you can use it to prepare for this new year that is coming up and getting all the things organized and together. So we're going to dive into that. But before we do, like I said, if you are new to the channel, welcome. I'm B. I am an astrologer and an intuitive, and I basically come here twice a month, hopefully more in the future, and just really break down a lot of the energy around the new moon and the full moon, how you can use it in your own, practice, craft rituals around this energy, and just kind of really help you hone in on some of the areas in your life that you want to focus on, improve, heal, and expand on, right? So that is what this channel is meant to be, a resource for you in those ways. And then we also are building a beautiful community of like-minded souls who are just learning, growing, ascending, and elevating together. So I just want to welcome you to the channel if you're new, and like I said, my returning subscribers, I'm always happy to have you back because you're family, and we are doing this thing together, okay? So this Virgo full moon is happening on March 18th, but it's happening at 3:17 a.m. Eastern time. So some of you, depending on where in the world you are, just maybe very few of you, this would put you in the wee hours of March 17th. It may happen to for you on March 17th, like in the wee hours of the night. But for most of us, it's going to be on March 18th. Again, 3:17 a.m. Eastern time. So if you are not in the Eastern time zone, please translate that to your local time zone so you know what time exactly is happening in your area. Also, this Virgo full moon is happening at 27 degrees, and here on this channel, I don't know about the other channels that you guys watch, we always pay attention to degrees because it gives us another level of information around the energy, okay? And 2 plus 7 equals 9, because in numerology we always make it a single number, a single digit number, unless it's a master number like 11, 22, 33, etc., right? So 9 is about completion. It's about endings, and that is timely, right? Because this is the last full moon. This is the last moon energy that we're going to experience before we close out this astrological year and move into the next one. So the completion, the endings, that whole theme of that is definitely right on time for what we're experiencing as we move into the new year. Now, for those of you who are new to astrology, you might be like, new year, what do you mean? Did the new year start on January 1st? Well, that's the new year according to the calendar year, what it has been changed to, but traditionally, or in the beginning, it was more so followed by the lunar and the solar cycle. So basically, the new year should start with the Aries season, or the sun moving into the sign of Aries on the spring equinox, which is March 21st. So that is what I honor as the new year. A lot of other people who are tapped into the energies, or who are syncing or trying to sync up their energy with what is more natural and what nature follows, because nothing blooms on January 1st. Nothing is, being set into motion on January 1st. So it feels very, it feels out of whack, out of sync for me personally. That is my philosophy around it. You don't have to subscribe to it, but I have a whole video. I'm going to link it down below in the description box or somewhere up here, where I talk about why I celebrate the new year in March. So in order to completely diving into that in this video, just go ahead and watch that video to get that information, okay? So like I said, the new year is approaching. It is happening in a couple of days, and this is exciting. So I, want to tell you how we can use this Virgo moon energy, this Virgo full moon, this beautiful Virgo full moon, to really hone in on how we can get ourselves prepared and be successful in this, new year. And when I say successful, it's like whatever success means to you. So if it means, getting over certain fears, if it means accomplishing certain things, if it means just getting yourself in order and in aligned, whatever that success looks like to you, that's what I want to help you achieve and get prepared for. To understand the Virgo energy, Virgo is the polarity to Pisces, all right? And polarities are just opposite energies. They're, completely opposite in nature. Pisces season, which is what we're in now, as we're going to be folding over into Aries season, Pisces is all about the dreamer. It's about imagination. It's about, it really is about creativity, imagination, and just dreaming big. It's that big dreamer's energy. Virgo, on the other hand, Virgo is really practical. It's about grounding yourself. It's like not being up here, up in the clouds, head up in the clouds, but it's about bringing yourself back down to reality. How do you make this dream that you have in Pisces season reality? How can you implement it? What does it look like practically? And how we're going to be using Virgo season Virgo full moon to get ready for this new year is one, by analyzing, right? This is bringing, again, the focus back to what are we dreaming about? How can we make it reality, okay? This is about bringing order, structure, routines, and purification into the mix, okay? So let's break this down. So first, with analyzing, okay? So this is helping us really, the analyzing qualities of Virgo's energy helps us break down these big dreams into bite-sized chunks. Like, it can seem so lofty and so out there, and it's like, can I ever really make this happen, So when I talk about like setting those vision boards into motion, you may have big dreams, big things that you want to accomplish on your vision board, but it's like the practical steps. What do I need to think through about this in order for it to actually happen, right? There has to be like actionable steps in the process. And that's what Virgo helps us really get down to, okay? So it really helps us to think through it all. Then the second part of what we can pull out of this Virgo moon or Virgo energy to help us prepare for the new year is routine and order. Now, Virgo rules over the 6th house, okay? And the 6th house in the astrology chart is the house of routines. It's the house of your daily like order and structure and what you need in order to function, like the day-to-day things that you have to do in order to make everything else run smoothly, okay? So this really helps us figure out what we need to implement in our day-to-day routines, in our lives, what kind of order that we need to make happen in our life in order to make the things that we are dreaming about, the things that we want to bring in, make them happen. Those actionable steps after we've analyzed and we're like, man, I've broken this down into pieces. Now, what are the steps? What are the routines? What are the things that I need to change in my day-to-day life in order to have that incremental movement towards my goals, right? So that is how we can use Virgo's energy in that way. What are the daily habits that get you closer to your goal? So it's about those small things that you do every day that adds up. It's not about taking big leaps. It's about taking small steps. So the one little thing that you change in your routine or your daily habit every day is the thing that over time is going to get you closer to your goal, okay? So another thing that we can use this Virgo full moon energy to help us with in our preparation for the new year is the purification aspect of Virgo's energy. Virgo is like the health conscious, health oriented nut of all of the zodiac signs, and that energy is really focus on the body a lot, okay? Virgo rules over the 6th house, like I said before, which is the house of health, right, too. So this energy with Virgo, when we talk about purification, a lot of the times when we think about cleaning things or getting things in order for spring or for the new year, we think about the physical outside of ourselves, right? And we're like, oh, I need to get my place in order. I need to do spring cleaning, clean my house out, lighten things up, get things in order. But like, what about our bodies? Like, yes, our environment, it's important to, you know, clear out our environment, cleanse, purify in that way. But we also need purification internally of our own body. So this is a great time to put like any type of cleansing, you know, detoxing, you know, routine or regimen into play to get your system cleared out and get your body energetically and physically aligned for the new year, like cleaning out the gunk. Because what we want to do when we're cleaning out the gunk is we're moving things out of our environment physically that is cluttering up space so that we can receive more, but we also need to clear that out energetically and physically in order to bring in more as well. That is one of the keys of manifestation. So you cannot, you know, bring in these new things, attract these new things, be in energetic alignment if you're all cluttered up with a bunch of the old stuff. So another thing that I think we could utilize this Virgo full moon for in terms of getting prepared is for thinking about what we want to learn. Now, that Virgo energy is good for consuming some knowledge. You hear me? Like, just really what do we need to learn? What are the new skills that we need to, or things that we've identified, new skills, new information that is going to take us to the next level or get us closer to the things that we want to accomplish, okay? So learning, and then also service. Like, how do we want to give back? How do we want to share? What do we want to do in terms of how we show up and what we do in our day-to-day that is not only beneficial to ourselves, but also gives back or serves in some type of way. So these are the things that we can be using this Virgo full moon for. So I know I'm doing this video backwards in the sense that I usually talk about the transits and the things that we can do, but I wanted to like lead with this because I wanted you to see like, man, this is a real opportunity. This is why this Virgo moon or full moon is the last stop before the astrological new year, because it has all of these properties that help us prepare for that, right? It's like that last minute getting ourselves together so that we can get this thing moving, okay? Because then it's go time. It is go time for Aries season. Also in regards to these particular areas that I listed, like the analyzing, the routine and order, the purification, service, learning, and all of that, you also want to go ahead and look back to 6 months ago at the Virgo new moon and see what you set into motion then, because a lot of this stuff was present then, and we identified certain things and planted certain things and put certain things into motion then, and you also want to see where you've come along with those things. So I would just mention that as well. The last thing I will mention about this Virgo moon before moving into the transits and some of the other things that are happening is that you want to also look at your house or pay attention to your house placement that this full moon is happening in for you. And I will leave a link down in the description box below for the transit chart where you can put in your information, put in the time and all of that of this moon and the date of this moon, and you can see what house that Virgo moon is falling in for you. So usually you're just going to look for Virgo on your birth chart and see what house that is for you. Why you want to pay attention to this is because this may be the particular area that you're feeling more of the, you know, being called to pay attention or bring balance into, right? Because the full moon is all about balance, right? We have the polarities of the sun sitting on one side and the moon sitting on the other side, and it's usually calling us to like figure out like there's an imbalance and bring a balance somewhere in between those two houses, right? So whatever house the moon is falling in for you, look at also the opposite house and see where the sun is and see like the balance that is required, or it's maybe helping you hone in on or focus on during this time. So you definitely want to pay attention to that. Okay, so let's go on ahead and get into the transits, because like I said, I'm doing this video a little bit backwards today, but I wanted to lead with the ways that you can use this Virgo energy to get your stuff together for this new year, right? But the transits are basically how the planets are talking to each other, how they're communicating, and what energies are also, or different themes and things are going to be popping up during the time of this full moon. Now, the first one is that the moon is going to be opposite Jupiter and Neptune, who are conjunct in the sign of Pisces. We talked about this a little bit we talked about it a lot in my last video on the Pisces new moon. And we talked about the beauty of these two planets and being conjunct in the sign of Pisces, and they're at home in Pisces, and there's just a lot of beautiful energy surrounding that. Some of it can be exaggerated and taken to the other side, but mostly very, very beautiful energy. But with this full moon opposite both of those planets, there's a conflict at play, right? And with this conflict coming up, the theme that I'm seeing with this in particular is around boundaries, around setting boundaries and enforcing boundaries. So a lot of things will push you, and a lot of lessons will come up in different ways in order to help you be more clear on your boundaries. So negative habits, behaviors, all of that is usually brought up to the surface, but this also helps us, right? Because we can establish healthy routines, healthy habits, and those are the things that we want to really focus on in the new year in terms of developing and really moving towards. So a lot of those things can come up, but also can help you identify like, oh, I need to really work on this. The next thing that's going to be happening is that the moon is going to be trining or be at harmony with Pluto in Capricorn. Now, Pluto's superpower is all about transformation. It is the death and rebirth process, or the endings and beginnings, right? Which is what we're experiencing here with the end of one year and going into the beginning of the next year. So it's just all about cycles. When we talk about the year, it's just about another cycle. So again, here we're like, our emotional sensitivity is definitely heightened again, like it's being picked up. So if you're feeling sensitive and emotional and just very like soft about a lot of things, this is why. If your anxiety and fears are really coming up, this is why, okay? So the intensity of your emotions though can help you transform, like I said before, helping you identify the areas where you need boundaries, where you need enforcement, where you need changes, okay? So this helps you really connect the dots. This is also great for self-analyzation, not only of yourself, self-analyzing, but also analyzing others, their behaviors, their actions, and why they do what they do. So this is helping you to get better, but it's by way of like sometimes that tough energy, okay? And then the last thing I will say is that the moon is going to be squaring or at tension with Lilith in the sign of Gemini, and Lilith is just like our raw, she just raw. You know what I mean? She's just like, she gives 0 Fs, and like if you don't move out her way, she's just gonna bulldoze you. You know what I mean? She's gonna light the whole place on fire and burn you down in it. But what this is happening, this tension that's happening between Lilith and the moon is that our insecurities are being flared up. And why? Because we're seeking at this time validation a lot of times for validation of our emotions, the things that we're feeling, things we're experiencing through others. We want other people to validate how we feel, and we're not getting that validation. And then it just kind of flares up the insecurities and things like that. So you can be met by resistance, and that causes a lot of frustration as well. Again, those anxieties, those fears, those people pushing up on those boundaries and really like pushing the envelope and just, you know what I mean? So assert your boundaries, assert your boundaries, assert your boundaries, assert your boundaries. Like identify them first, where you need to put up boundaries, and then enforce them. So that's what I will say here, the power crystal that I would recommend you working with for this Virgo moon is fluorite, just because it's great for detoxification, because we talked about that purification, detoxifying, clearing that old stuff out, getting ready for this new year. And then also clarity, because Virgo is all about analyzing and getting clear on the next steps and the things that need to be done. So I think this power crystal will work well for you, but feel free to use others. There are a ton of other crystals that you can use as well. I just try to recommend ones that I think will help and also that are easily accessible, right? So that is it. That is it for this Virgo full moon. Virgo gang gang, where you at? Where my Virgo moon's at? Virgo, any placement that you have Virgo. I don't have any Virgo placements, but you know, again, we all are affected by this energy, so definitely use it to your advantage. I hope that you all are, you know, using this time to really get your last minute preparations for the new year ahead, because we are about to move and groove into Aries season and I can't wait. So I will see you all soon. Have a great new moon. New moon, full moon. I'm all over the place. Have a great full moon and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.